Hey there, I hope you're doing well. My name is Adam and today we're going to look at some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy Reddit stories, consider liking, subscribing, and maybe hitting that notification bell too. Let's get started with today's first story. Much love, everyone. Today's first story comes from my sister betrayed me, now her kids are his? My parents side with her. My sister 34 and I 32 female, don't talk anymore. I cut her out of my life 7 years ago. After learning she was sleeping with my ex-fiance 34 male and that her daughter, who was 2 at the time, was his and the baby she was carrying. I broke up with my ex and my sister in one go. I told her. She was dead to me and made it clear to my family that she would not be in my life anymore. They were understanding and tried to keep us apart, because it was more painful for them to be around the tension and hate I have for her than never seeing us in the same room. I'm married to my husband, Luke now, and have 3 children, all toddlers and younger with him. He's aware of my past, and I don't want anything to do with my sister ever again. This is something he gets because his brother slept with most of his exes while he was still dating them, so we both understand that siblings can sometimes be the worst. My sister is married to my ex now and they have 2 girls together. My ex ended up disabled last year in a workplace accident. Then my sister was diagnosed with some medical problem. They've struggled to keep a roof over their heads, feed their kids, etc. My parents and some extended family have stepped up to help. Last month my sister's husband needed surgery and the pressure has been worse on them. I've heard about all this through other people. I never reached out or offered any help. Her husband ended up back in the hospital a week ago and my sister followed Luke and I were asked if we'd take the kids. I said no. My sister found me via social media and told me she needed me now that we're sisters above all else and her family needed my help. I told her I was never going to help her or her family. She asked me how I could be so cold. So now is where my family feels I'm wrong. They say my sister's kids are innocent and I should want them in my life and that my sister is going through a nightmarish time right now and I should put aside my hurt and anger and at least give her some help because we're blood and we grew up together. I told them I could never that, even though I fully acknowledge her kids are innocent, they are her kids and I don't have it in me to invite any kind of access with her via them. They're all pretty mad at me and say I've taken this too far. Am I the idiot, not the idiot? No, that is so cruel of your sister. If she wants to play the family card, she should have done it long ago and not slept with your boyfriend family. Don't do that. It's not your responsibility. She didn't care that Opie was family when she slept with her sister's fiancé for years and got pregnant twice behind her back. How is this family? But if she needs help, family ties are so important. No blood doesn't make a family and she can go to his side of the family or all the other people, but trying to use the one person you betrayed so much disgusting and guilt-tripping. You now is the worst as if your feelings don't matter. Yes, the kids are innocent, but not your responsibility. They have other family members to get taken care of. So why should you step in? Why? So she can try to sleep with your new husband. Fool me once, shame on you. For me twice. Shame on me, and it's time to elevate the dead to me level to include no news, no updates via relatives. Yikes. You are the idiot. You're not only choosing to be lifelong angry at your sister or because of a man, but also choosing not to have anything to do with her kids, which I agree with your family. They are innocent. They didn't wrong you in any way. To them, you're their auntie and you're choosing to allow them to think that you don't love them. I think it's time to get over yourself and forgive and bloody move on. Get over it. It's your sister and niece-nephews. For Christ's sake, have a heart. Seriously, in what universe is moving on equivalent to letting toxic lying idiots back into your life? You can move on by not meeting with the toxic lying idiots anymore. Problems solved. Also, the idiom blood is thicker than water comes from the battlefields, originally saying the blood that we shared in the battle is thicker than the water from the womb, meaning your chosen unrelated family, with which you've been through a nightmare sticking together, has more value than some DNA you share with people. My wife, Elle, and I have been married for a year now. Back in the day, Elle worked as a sports model. Her job required her to meet a very rigid beauty standard and look a certain way. As a result, she was always on a strict diet and was severely underweight. Since then, she's gained a healthy amount of weight and muscle and is much happier. My brother Chris is wealthy, like excessively wealthy. He's done well for himself and seems happy about where he is. He just got out of a nasty divorce with his ex-wife and has asked to stay with me for a few weeks as he moves into his new place. Chris, to put it simply, has a type. He believes that every woman should subscribe to his type. Any woman who doesn't fit his preference is automatically ugly and unlovable. He wants all women to conform to his standards, no matter what. 2 days ago, Chris found some of Elle's old magazine covers and commented on how beautiful she was back. Then it's a harmless comment, sure, but he kept bringing up how much she's let herself go. I mean, kept bringing it up. Elle goes for a run every evening, and as she was heading out the door, Chris told her to run fast enough to lose all the flabby bits. She rolled her eyes and laughed it off, but I told him to shut up. The next day when Elle went to the gym, he told her to make sure to return to her role. Figure again, I told him to shut up and stop fixating on my wife's body. Despite all his comments, Elle is a little unfazed by them. She says that she's used to it. I was completely exhausted from listening to him by the end of the day. Finally, I was at my end, but Elle again brushed him off with a smile and a laugh. Then Elle served him food. He joked about paying for her tummy tuck so that I can marry the right version of Elle. The right version is the skinnier version of her. That comment set me off. I told him that his wife married the wrong version of him and to pack his crap and leave my house. He didn't take kindly to this and complained about how insensitive I was to his situation and how I made a low blow. He eventually left, but Elle tells me I could have kicked him out without the comment. Am I the idiot, not the idiot? Okay, it was a low blow about his divorce, but given the revolting nature of his comments and the fact that he explicitly insulted your wife while putting a roof over his head, it makes it understandable. You're only human. You're far more polite than I would have been. Not sure why you're in doubt on that point. Honestly, this situation has nothing to do with your wife. There's no reason for him to pick on her or comment on her body. Sure, you didn't need to explain yourself when telling him to leave, but if he can't take unsolicited criticism, he shouldn't be engaging in it himself. Does anyone else get the vibe that he might have been trying to nag Opie's wife to get her to be more open? If he hits on her, I'm seriously side-eyeing his comment about marrying the right version, i.e. once she loses weight. Your brother is proof that money doesn't buy class, and if this is how he treats women, I suspect this will be one of many divorces in his future. My female 29 fiancé, male 33, has a best friend, Jason, who is the brutally honest type and the type that tells it how it is. He admitted that he isn't good at keeping his thoughts in his head. My fiancé says he loves him despite his flawed personality and expects me to let it go whenever he makes backhanded comments about me and my past. He was the first to be invited to the wedding, and my fiancé promised me to make him behave. My fiancé and I found out that we're expecting. We visited my future in-laws' house to make the announcement, and Jason was already there after dinner. My fiancé and I stood up and made the announcement. Everyone rushed to congratulate us, except for Jason, who sat still and admittedly kept looking right in my eyes in a strange way. I avoided him, but he got up, hugged my fiancé, looked at him and said 3 words, "Man, paternity test pronto." I was completely flawed. Everyone was shocked but tried to act normal, probably to diffuse the situation, but I walked up to Jason and asked him to repeat what he said. He tried to back off because my face was inches away from his. He was like, "Chill. It was just a joke," but I kept asking him to repeat what he said. Finally, my fiancé got in the middle and told me to take a seat and calm down. I went off on Jason, called him an insensitive idiot, and said he was officially uninvited from the wedding after he accused me of being unfaithful. Jason shouted some stuff about how I was a drama llama and that he meant no harm, then left in a hurry. My fiancé and his mom agreed with me being upset, but said that uninviting him from the wedding was me going too far. My fiancé said that Jason was just joking and I blew up over nothing. We went home and I kind of broke down in the bathroom without letting my fiancé see it because he still thought I was overreacting after I told him how I felt about his friend, ruining my joy and humiliating me in front of my in-laws. Am I overreacting and being too emotional here? Not the idiot. A couple of things. First, Jason wasn't telling it like it is. He was being freaking insulting. You absolutely were within your rights to confront him and confront him hard. Accusing you of cheating, no, not acceptable. On top of that, if Jason truly had reason to believe you were unfaithful, the place for him to bring it up is in private in a conversation with your fiancé, not in front of the extended family that is no friend. He likes the drama he stirs up and is insinuating you cheated at this point. You can have Jason at the wedding or me. This is your choice, not mine. I'm done tolerating his brutal honesty, which is just an excuse to say awful things and get away with it. I know so many men who would never tolerate any of the disrespect your fiancé has put you through. He can step up and be a partner who doesn't let the people in his life treat you like less, or he can go. Your fiancé needs to consider telling his friend to chill with his honesty. I'll call it what it is. Jason is using honesty as a front to be an idiot. He meant what he said. Your fiancé needs to step up and understand that letting his friend treat you and his unborn child this way is insulting not only to you, but also to him. First off, I female 32 respectfully hate wedding culture and all the heavy weight it carries. Personally, I think it's pointless and exhausting to have a big wedding just for everyone else to enjoy, except the couple been there done that, so my future in-laws are very traditional folks. Thankfully, my fiancé isn't like that, and I was able to get him to see how overrated traditional weddings are. In-laws pretty clearly want a traditional wedding with all the works. Big party, big venue, a whole wedding party and a private photographer and a fancy expensive wedding dress to impress the guests, and a huge variety of food options as well as DJs, and who knows what else. We're in the process of wedding planning. Mother-in-law came to see me along with sister-in-law, with a list of where to start with wedding planning. I got nauseous just looking at it. I asked why the hassle and exaggeration. She was like, well, that's how it's done in the family. I told her I was sorry about that, oops, but my fiancé and I had already decided on a small party in our spacious backyard, with a humble purple dress as my wedding dress and an Etta James at Last song playing in the background. Sister-in-law looked at me asking if I was serious. The next thing I knew, mother-in-law almost fainted, which freaked me out completely. Then she regained her strength and began yelling at me, telling me that I was trying to make a joke out of her son in the family, and demanded I stick to the list. I called my fiancé to come home, but his dad and aunt got there first, and they all started arguing with me about how crazy this was and how they won't let me ruin my own and their son wedding for them. My fiancé got home and took everything we agreed on back. I got so mad at him and asked why, and he told me he didn't think his family would react like this. I argued with him too after his family threatened that they wouldn't attend the wedding if I went through with this crazy plan. They criticized me up and down, saying they didn't get why I was doing this when I had enough money and time to have a respectable, worthy wedding, just like everyone else in the family. But I'm a bridezilla trying to dictate the wedding from A to Z. Also, just because I had a wedding before doesn't mean I make light of this one. We're still arguing about it, and my fiancé keeps saying he wants his family not to miss our wedding and ask that I reconsider what we previously planned. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I'd put the wedding on hold for the moment until your fiancé grows a spine. This is a preview of how the marriage will be, Opie. Your future husband will let his family dictate your entire life. If you don't get him to stand up to them now, yup, Opie, you two aren't ready to get married. I see this going a few ways. You cave, spend the money and have the big party and hate your own wedding. He caves and his family never let you live it down, or you elope and no one gets the wedding they want either way. You need to talk this through again. I'll go with a risky everyone's the idiot here. At the end of the day, it is your wedding, but it's also your so's wedding too. You said you were able to get him to see how overrated traditional weddings are, which sounds a bit dodgy. In all honesty, Maybe he wanted a traditional one all along either way. There should have been more clear communication about what you all wanted, instead of your in-laws dictating what the wedding would be like. I get the op feels strongly about this, but I feel like the fiancé is being pushed around in both directions to do what everyone else, including Opie, and that wants, and nobody seems to be asking him what he wants. Fiancé needs to be able to speak up for himself before he even thinks of marrying someone else. I fully believe I'm in the right in this situation, but my family keeps saying I'm the idiot and I want an outside opinion for context. My dad has supported me unconditionally and has repeatedly told my mother to knock it off, and he was just as devastated when I couldn't go a couple of years ago. I got into a fancy advanced online program for school because I was leaps and bounds ahead of all my classmates, and part of my acceptance was a difficult test. If you score high enough, you get into the online program, score even higher, and get into advanced boarding schools. When I took the test the first time, I didn't score high enough to go to the boarding schools, and it was fine. I didn't care. I found, though, that I struggle and fail because of the online nature of the program I'm in, and it's affecting my future opportunities. Because of this, I took the test again to get into the boarding school. This time I scored high enough to go, and I was ecstatic. I'd spent over a year putting in the effort and the work to get in, and I was offered a spot. This all came to naught, though, when my mother decided to refuse my spot, and since I was a kid, she had the right to deny it. For me, she was raised a Catholic and is severely emotionally and verbally abusive. Going to boarding school was my way out and a way to get out from under her thumb, but she refused it because she was having a baby with her new younger husband and needed a free babysitter. Here's where I may be the idiot. This happened a year ago, and I still hate her for it and refuse to involve her or speak to her about anything to do with schooling. She's been complaining, and so she doesn't understand why I cut her out of that part of her life. But I can't bring myself to start fights with her when I know exactly how they'll go. So am I the idiot for refusing to talk to her, not the idiot? She ruined your future because she was selfish. I wouldn't want anything to do with her either. She's just complaining because she lost her free babysitting. She doesn't miss you. You can't forgive her when she couldn't give a damn about the crap she pulled. Her flying monkeys can kick rocks. Your mom stole your future from you. Your family, except for your dad, you said, aren't accepting of your feelings. No one can tell you what to do with your feelings. If you want to forgive your mom and get close in the future, no one can tell you that's wrong. If you want to cut her out of your life for good and choose never to see or speak of her again, that's also not wrong. A year isn't even that long to come to terms with what happened. I would be horribly angry too, before my hard work was thrown away for purely selfish reasons. Unfortunately, that's what your mom did, and it's a hard lesson to learn and one I hope in time you don't repeat on your children. I'm so sorry that happened to you, Op. You don't have to like or trust someone who behaves that way, and for your own protection, you probably shouldn't. I'm going to turn this one over to you. What do you make of this situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, support, and time mean the world to me. So, thank you so much for being part of this. I really appreciate your time. I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.